Hi guys, this is gsnow.com and I'm here with the iHunt Freedom. It's a handset that's the locally integrated version from Romania of the Blackview A8 handset. The Blackview A8 is one of the cheapest phones that money can buy right now, and we're dealing here with a device that was launched this summer and it's priced at only $56 on gearbest.com. So once again, iHunt Freedom, and also known as the Blackview A8. It's an entry-level smartphone with a 2.5D front panel, and it comes in gold or black or gray. It comes with a bundled case, and it can also be considered sort of a selfie phone because you have a flash for the front camera. Other than that, I should mention it doesn't have 4G connectivity, and the company behind it, Blackview, was founded in 2013. Now, as far as the design is concerned, this is quite a good looking phone in spite of the very low price tag. And even though the back looks metallic, this rounded area is actually made of plastic. The phone measures 9.3mm in thickness and weighs 130 grams. It's a bit on the thick and heavy side for a 5-incher, but in the end it's manageable considering the price tag. So we have a 2.5D glass panel at the front, looking pretty nice. A solid build, really solid and sturdy, no creaks and no cheap plastic. And it kind of reminds me of the Huawei Honor 4X if I were to compare it with any other phone. One hand usage doesn't pose any problems. As you can see, it's very easy to use with a single hand, and we get CNC metal frames that are quite big and solid, big bezels, and the facade is a bit of a fingerprint magnet. The buttons on the side are comfy. The capacitive buttons are also comfy, but they do not light up, excuse me. And when we remove the back cover, let's see what happens. So this is the plastic layer at the back, imitates metal quite well, and below it you can find the battery and 3 slots. 2 of them are SIM slots and one of them is the micro SD card slot. It's a comfy phone with okay looks, and for the price of $56 we're willing to forgive anything, but luckily there's nothing to forgive in the design aspect. Now, display wise, this one is a 5-inch IPS LCD panel with a 720p resolution, and once again that slightly curved 2.5D glass panel. Now, as far as the video player is concerned, we got this one here, video player. It has an old school user interface, and now it's time to play our usual test clip. The experience involves a pretty good brightness, good image clarity, wide view angles, and also pretty okay colors, not oversaturated and not too cold, but the contrast in the sunlight is poor, just in case you were wondering. We also did a bunch of tests on this very same screen, and let's see what came out. So we got the RGB stripes pixel setup as shown by our microscope, and then we measured the brightness and achieved 357 lux units, which is reasonable for the price. It beats the Huawei G8 and LG G3, which is no small feature, but it's scored below the Verni Tor in case you want to compare it with another cheap phone, but that one is priced above $200, or better said above $100, excuse me. Now, if you're talking about display options, we got here mirror vision, a dedicated section with the subsections picture mode with standard, vivid and user mode, and once you trigger user mode there's a bunch of other subsettings like contrast, saturation, brightness, sharpness, color temperature and dynamic contrast, but I suggest you stick to standard, otherwise you'd deform the experience. We also have brightness level, sleep and font size, and overall I have to say this is a pretty competitive screen considering the price tag. Now, as far as the other hardware is concerned, we're dealing here with a quad-core device. It has a quad-core MediaTek MT6580 processor clocked at 1.2 GHz, the Mali 400 GPU. We also get 1 GB of RAM, DDR3, 8 GB of storage, and a micro SD card slot. Of course, that 8 GB of storage will be filled very fast. Excuse the ad, that's a free app, and that's the risk one occurs with a free app. As I said before, it's very easy to run out of memory here with 8 GB of storage, but we have the micro SD card slot. So the phone does not suffer from lag, surprisingly. Of course, there's the once in a while slowdown of the system, but I found it to be quite responsive, and even when opening up new apps, I didn't find the time of their opening to be very long. Now, the games, we tested a game called Max Ammo, which worked fine, and also one called the Riptide GP2, which is this one, and it's our benchmark game. It's our usual benchmark game, and now there's Riptide GP Renegade, but that one, if I'm correct, will not run on this phone. Takes up a lot of space and doesn't have the resources to run on it. It's a higher end game, so Riptide GP2 manages to run pretty well, as you can well see. There's no lag, the water looks nice, nice frame rate, no stutter. With a bit of luck, some optimizations and updates, we can even see Riptide GP Renegade on it. Okay, we're done with the gaming part. We also did some benchmarks, but of course it's not a very high-end phone, so do not raise your expectations. I would have to say that I was pleasantly surprised to see that in Quadrant we managed to score above the Huawei P8 Lite, while in Antutu 6 we beat the Asus Zenfone Max, and in 3D Mark, iStorm Unlimited, sadly the results were very poor. We were basically below the 100 place from all the phones we ever tested. So while we're doing decently in the area of the mainstream benchmarks, when it comes to the GPU, results are pretty poor, as expected probably. But in the end, they're decent benchmarks for the low price tag. We also tested the temperature and got as high as let's see here, 34.5 degrees Celsius after running GFX Bench, which is not bad at all and certainly does not mean overheating, while after running Riptide we got to 35.4 degrees Celsius, once again no overheating, so that's nice. Now when it comes to the battery, the juicer you saw before is a lithium ion 2050 mAh unit. On paper we're being promised 10 hours of call and 140 minutes for a charge, but let's see how the device did in our test. So we achieved a pretty underwhelming 4 hours and 6 minutes of continuous HD video playback, which is quite a bit of a letdown. It's the second lowest value ever recorded by us. Basically you can watch three let's say full pictures, 3 mainstream movies till the phone battery runs out. So even for this price tag I was expecting just a tiny bit more. However, the PC Mark result is quite decent, it's okayish. 4 hours and 25 minutes, it beats the Huawei Honor 6 and the first HTC One, so that's reasonable I would say. In the meantime, the charging is at 2 hours and 26 minutes, which is almost exactly as promised by Blackview, so we're doing fine here. Now the options. Of course, there are options associated to the battery. They're available here, and we got standby intelligent power saving and the classic battery saver. Since there's no dose, you already figured out we're running on Lollipop, not Marshmallow. I'm happy with the battery, and now let's go to the acoustics, starting with the back speaker here. Now let's go to the music player that we have pre-installed here. So it's a music player with an old school type of interface, as you can well see. And we go to this area here, we can also find the sound effects, which are the stock ones. We got the equalizer here with 5 custom channels, bass boost, surround sound and preset reverbs. These are genre settings, so you get the usual package of options. Now let's actually listen to a tune. Turn it all the way. So only a slight case of muffling. The conclusion, we got an okay volume, the bass is not very powerful, the guitar is heard okay, there's no distortion, and once again a slight bit of a case of muffling. We have a decibel meter and we're not afraid to use it, and we achieved here a very impressive 89 decibels at the back of the phone, and then we lost 5 decibels, reaching 84.2 decibels at the front. So 84.2 at the front and 89 at the back. The bigger result is the one that matters, and this means we beat the LG G4, Galaxy Note 4 and LG G5. Those are all very good results. The headphones are those ones, pretty typical. They're made of plastic, they sit well in the ear, they're quite comfy, they have an ugly and big remote with a single button. They can connect to the top with a pretty badass looking area with screws and very nice holes for the ports. You connect like this. And the conclusion about the headphones, they may be ugly and plasticky, but they're comfy. The bass is underwhelming, they're not loud, but the keyboards are heard okay. By the way, we have FM radio here, and we can also record stuff we hear on the radio using the same handset. And speaking of extras, we have some extras for the acoustics here: sound notification, sound enhancement, there is BES audio enhance, there is BES loudness, surround, and lossless Bluetooth modes for high quality music via Bluetooth, unless I'm mistaken. So I'm happy with the acoustics of the speaker, so with the ones of the headphones. Time to talk about the camera. At the back there is an 8 megapixel shooter with LED flash and supposedly the same sensor as the one from the iPhone 5s, Sony IMX149, although the jury is still up for debate regarding the identity of the sensor. Then we got the 2 megapixel shooter at the front, also with LED flash, and now it's time to check out just how fast the camera app gets activated. As you can see, not very fast. And speaking of not very fast, the zoom is not the snappiest in the world. Expected just a bit better, and when it comes to picture taking, also not very fast. Focus is a bit slow as well. Now, as far as the UI is concerned, we have here at the top the HDR option, flash option, front camera setting. Then there is this gesture setting in the main camera modes, which include normal. We got live photo mode, we got motion track, face beauty, panorama, and multi-angle. I would say typical features we see on an entry-level or lower mid-range phone. There is GPS exposure, color effect, scene, white balance, a few properties, all of them typical. And then we got zero shutter delay, voice capture, self timer, and there is also interpolation. So even though we have an 8 megapixel camera, we can take 13 megapixel shots. There's ISO, there's video capture here up to full HD and with electronical image stabilization. Okay, so those are all the options we have here, and just in case you were wondering, the front camera looks something like this, and if you activate the flash, here we go. I just confirmed the presence of the flash. Okay, that's it. We're done with this interface aspect. Let's go to the actual gallery and see how the camera behaved in our over 100 samples taken during the day and during the night. So I have to say from the start, this camera was a pleasant surprise. The shots were taken during a sunny day of August. We got okay colors in the shade. This is a poster. And then I felt that the colors in the sun, in full sunlight, were a bit on the oversaturated side. The image felt a bit too white. And then we played with the zoom, level 1, level 2 and level 3 for a very impressive quality when zooming in. We proceed further, so we got this regular shot and then we have the HDR shot, making things a bit whiter but not in an exaggerated mode. Then we have this close-up of a flower with excellent details. Overall, I was happy with the colors because in spite of those oversaturated and washed out ones from the start, the camera redeemed itself as we went along, and this panorama is quite nice. It may be small, but it's clear, 3440 over 464 pixels, once again small but okay. Excellent shots of this orange flower. I have to say, I've seen phones that cost 200 or 300 bucks that weren't able to pull off such a close-up, so this $56 phone really has a good camera. If you want to take shots, close-ups of flowers and post them on Facebook, this is the device for you. There's great texture here for these monuments made of marble and stone. There's some burn here and there, but that's excusable once again by the price tag. This is the multi-angle shot, also looking fine, and some of the pictures have a green hue, I noticed that, but nothing horribly wrong. Okay, we also did selfies, worry not, and sadly those were a bit of underwhelming. At first sight they may look okay, but there's a bit of a fog going on, and I didn't like the texture of the hair that felt like, I would even call it like wood or something like that. Didn't feel very realistic. Okay, so we got selfies, we got close-ups. Generally I was happy with the quality of the daytime shots. It's a big surprise because for 56 bucks you expect much less. Now during the nighttime, let's see what happened there. So we have nighttime shots. The lights are simply huge, the sources of light, expanding to the rest of the picture. The flash is not very powerful. The close-ups were okay and the colors were not bad, but in general we also met with some blur, some yellowish area, and I found that the focus was quite proper for nighttime capture. If it meets strong light, you can forget about good capture, and frankly speaking, when it comes to low light capture, it can easily fight phones that costs double or triple, so in the end it's quite good. Video was shot in Full HD, 30 frames per second, in the 3GPP format and 24 mega per second bitrate, which is quite nice. So let's see a sample of such a video. Looking for it, and here we go. So we have a good microphone, but the video is shaky, a bit burnt and a bit oversaturated, and when we started to zoom in, the quality was seriously lost. However, the good aspects are the focus, brightness and microphone. Sometimes the colors will be okay. I criticized before the oversaturation and burn. For example, this video has poorly rendered colors, while the one before had better colors. And as you can see, the quality loss is dramatic when zooming in. Not very impressive, but reasonable for the price. That's the keyword here. And we also filmed at night. Let's try and see that. Let's find a video or two. Here we go. This is where everything drops, and I mean, we drop to 16 frames per second, 7 mega per second, things get foggy, blurry and totally unimpressive. You can forget about nighttime filming. So that's the camera in a nutshell, a pretty good surprise. Now let's talk about something else. I'm going to start with the web browser. There's the pre-installed one, and we also have Chrome if you want a bit of variety. As you can see, the pre-installed one is reasonably fast, I have to say, even though its benchmarks were on the low side. Virtual keyboard, quite comfy and stock, and on a connectivity front, you saw before the two slots, those are actually micro SIM slots. It's a dual SIM, dual standby phone that only limits itself to 3G, it does not have 4G, and it does not come with NFC, in case you were wondering. We do have Bluetooth 4.0, there's GPS, there's Wi-Fi BGN, micro USB 2.0 here at the top, and as far as the calls are concerned, they're quite clear, but also not very loud, and the signal is never quite full all the time, so the signal could use a small boost. The microphone was okay. We did a speed test or two, and let's see what came out. We actually repeated the test a bunch of times, because the values were quite different, so let's find them. Here we go. Now, when it comes to 3G connectivity, we got up to, let's see, 9.90 mega per second in download and 4.82 mega per second in upload, which is reasonable for a 3G phone of this type and so cheap. While in the Wi-Fi mode, we were at around 49 mega per second in download and 23 in upload, which is also okay-ish. Now, if you're wondering about OS, UI and apps, this is a phone with Lollipop. As confirmed here, it's Android 5.1 Lollipop, mostly stock. We got a carousel for multitasking, triggered like this, and the apps are closed like this. Keep the home screen pressed to trigger the wallpapers or widgets, or press this button, and the widgets are the stock ones. Nothing fancy here. We also have wallpapers, and the drop down portion includes notifications and of course brightness slider and quick settings. The actual settings are all typical except for one extra option. This extra is doodle control, basically a series of gestures like the classic double tap to wake, draw a C to wake the camera or some other app, draw a W to wake Facebook, and you can assign other such functions for yourself. Now, as far as the pre-installed apps go, I counted them. There's 29 of them, which is good, not on the bloatware side, only the stock ones, plus we got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got a video player, to do, and the straightforward package of maps, downloads, contacts, clock, calendar, etc. Okay, folks, time for the verdict. It's a $56 phone here, and the pros are good design, fantastic price, quite okay display, reasonable performance, no overheating, high volume for the back speaker, surprisingly good pictures with the main camera, no bloatware and no lag. On the cons, the video playback time is really low, I mean the battery. The screen behavior in full sunlight could use a tweak, the contrast could be better, the videos caught with the camera are very shaky, there is no marshmallow, there is no 4G, and the signal could be only slightly better. In the end, it remains a phone with a fantastic price, and that doesn't compromise too much. Some people may say that the lack of 4G or marshmallow is a big compromise. I can argue that at least you get a good design, nice grip and good back camera, so that's pretty good. It's not a phone for gaming, it's not a phone for long video watching, it's a phone for taking pictures, listening to music and enjoying its design. So this is it from gsm.com. This has been the review and presentation of the Blackview A8 found at $56 on gearbest.com. Bye bye.